Today's WNEM TV5 Evening Extra is brought to you by the Law Office of Carol Thomas.
Thanks for tuning in to TV5 Evening Extra. After months on the picket line, registered nurses and caseworkers at Henry Ford Genesis Hospital could be closer to returning to work.
Over the weekend, the hospital announced that it and the union had reached an important milestone in ending the labor dispute.
But how are strikers taking this news? They tell TV5's Zane Omer it brings up a lot of emotion.
It was hope and excitement.
Everything we've been hearing has been positive.
I am cautiously optimistic.
Nurses on the picket line reacting to a breakthrough in negotiations between Teamsters Local 332 and Henry Ford Health. In a joint statement, the two parties say Friday night, representatives for Henry Ford Genesis Hospital and Teamsters Local 332 reached an important milestone toward ending the ongoing labor dispute. We remain optimistic as crucial steps in the negotiations process continue. We appreciate everyone's understanding, and we look forward to sharing more when we're able.
We understand that it's give and take on both sides, and so there's limits to what information to be given, and we respect that, but it's just the hope that we're making progress and getting closer to something that both sides will be happy with going in on.
The word of progress comes as the strike hits day 155 on Monday.
We came out in September, we had 90-degree weather, and then here we are with the winter, the very, very cold, only being allowed so many burn barrels, trying to keep warm. Some of us didn't clear out our lockers because we really thought we were going to be back in there. I did not think it would be out here that long.
Henry Ford Health says Genesis Hospital representatives have been at the table since April, meeting more than 70 times with Teamsters. Union members tell me the main sticking point have been staffing levels and nurse-to-patient ratios.
We're very cautiously optimistic because there's still a lot that we have to see and vote on and agree with. So hopefully this will be the end and we've gotten what we need.
And as they wait for a deal, nurses say they're looking forward to getting back inside and taking care of their patients.
It sounds cheesy, but it's a calling. You want to help people, and I want to go back to something that matters and makes me feel good about what I'm doing day to day.
In a statement today, a Henry Ford spokesperson tells TV5, we are all working towards the same goal, a contract that values current team members, attracts and retains new nurses, and prioritizes the safety and well-being of patients and team members. As a crucial stage of the negotiation process continues, we remain hopeful that Genesis Hospital nurses will soon have a contract that fosters the same great working environment enjoyed by 18,000 nurses across the Henry Ford Health system.
In a statement, Teamsters Local 332 President Dan Glass said, we're getting closer to ending this strike with each passing day, adding, quote, we are optimistic that our members will soon have a collective bargaining agreement that reflects the hard work, dedication, and commitment they have devoted to Henry Ford Genesis Hospital. Right now, nurses tell us they are waiting on a tentative agreement to be reached, then a contract will be presented for them to vote on. Happening tomorrow, the special primary election for Michigan's 35th Senate District. It covers Bay, Midland, and Saginaw counties and was vacated after U.S. Representative Kristen McDonald-Rivet was elected to Congress. The winning Democrat and Republican will face off in the general election on May 5th. You can see a list of candidates running right on our website, and make sure you stay with TV5 as those results roll in.
A heads up for people in Midland. Consumers Energy is planning a brief outage tomorrow. It's expected on Sturgeon Avenue, north of Letts Road to City Forest, as crews perform reliability work on the Larkin substation from 9 a.m. until noon. Consumers says affected customers were notified.
And the first alert pinpoint Doppler radar shows light snow continuing to pass through mid-Michigan tonight. That snow not expected to lead to anything significant as far as accumulations are concerned. That may recoat some area roads if it comes down heavy enough. You can clearly see a few pockets that look a little heavier in Genesee and Lapeer counties, as well as a few in some of our northern counties as well. But this is a part of a system that will be making its departure a little bit later on tonight, and we should see generally about a half inch or less of new accumulation. Some occasional visibility drops to around 2 to 3 miles. Most are at about 3 at least at this hour. We take a look at our camera in, let's see where it pops up. The graphics have frozen up on me. Looks outside of downtown Saginaw. Seems like things have lightened up enough and visibility is good here. Traffic not bothered by any snow on 675. Our temperatures around the area mostly lower to middle 20s, 25 in Saginaw, 25 in Midland, 24 in Flint, and 23 in Bay City. Wind chills mostly in the teens at this hour with winds mostly between about 5 and 10. coming primarily out of a westerly and southwesterly direction. Going through the rest of tonight, wind chills should primarily stay in the teens except for early tomorrow morning. The rest of your forecasts coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. A man was killed last night in Shiawassee County after he was hit by an SUV. State police say it happened on Lansing Road near Britton Road in Perry Township around 7:45. A 36-year-old Perry man was driving his vehicle when he hit a 28-year-old man also from Perry. State police say the 28-year-old was either walking or standing in the road. He died from his injuries. The crash remains under investigation.
These 20s feel like a heat wave compared to last week's bone-chilling temperatures. While most of us just had to throw on another layer, for the area's homeless, it was a life-or-death situation.
That's why 4th Ward Bay City Commissioner Benjamin Tenney is proposing a cold weather emergency response team.
TV5's James Felton walks us through how it would work.
I'm in a position where I have a voice and can do something, so why not?
That's why 4th Ward Commissioner for Bay City, Benjamin Tenney, says he's taking action to make sure everyone has shelter during the day when winter temperatures are at their worst or heavy snow falls. Tenney will introduce a resolution at the February 9th meeting that makes daytime indoor options available to anyone when air temperatures are in the single digits or when 5 inches or more of snow falls in the same day.
Beef up our processes that we already have in place and lean into some resources that we already have to provide some more daytime hours for warming places for folks in frigid conditions.
Tenney tells us his resolution will model something similar to the Code Blue system used in Lansing.
Perhaps open the community center that the county is in charge of, or perhaps it's a city-owned space. Perhaps it's a metro bus that, just drives around as a warming bus.
Or organizations who already opened their doors and will commit to doing so in the coldest, snowiest conditions, Tenney says. It's all part of his effort to make sure no one is left outside to die in the cold and snow.
I think about this story, about a dozen or so years ago, where a man lost his life on the west side of the city because he was seeking shelter in a tractor trailer. I don't want to see anybody lose their lives under, frigid temperatures, right? If we could do something to prevent that from happening again, I'm all ears.
James Felton, WNEM TV5.
If Tenney's resolution is approved, city staff would have 30 days to develop a plan. If there's a cost associated with the plan, it could be presented as a budget amendment to the City Commission for consideration, also in that 30-day time frame.
Local news as we turn the page to February. That means St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. Organizers for Bay City's 71st annual parade have announced this year's events leading up to the big day. Festivities start with the scholarship pageant on Saturday, March 1st, crowning the Queen and Princess who will serve as ambassadors throughout the parade season and the year. The Bay City St. Patrick's Day parade is March 15th. You can learn more by going to this story on WNEM.com.
Applications are now open if you have an idea to improve the city of Saginaw. You can apply for the Community Improvement Initiative grant. A single project will be awarded up to $40,000. The Saginaw Community Foundation says this year projects must create an enduring, measurable impact. The project must be completed by July 2027. Applications are due by May 1st.
Fire department upgrades proposed in Fenton. Tonight's city council meeting will discuss building 4 bunk rooms for firefighters. The chief says the rooms are needed to prepare for the overnight staffing the department will eventually need. Tonight's meeting starts at 7:30 in the council chambers.
Take an icy cold dip for a good cause.
The first local polar plunge is this weekend, where you can make a splash, and the other Mid-Michigan events still looking for volunteers after the break.
Plus, stay warm while exploring downtown Bay City during the annual Hot Chocolate Hop. Who's participating this year? And the Galentine's Boutique Crawl still ahead.
President Trump is touting a trade deal reached with India, one of America's biggest trading partners.
Our White House correspondent John Decker has the latest.
President Trump announced the trade deal on social media, writing that the U.S. will lower its reciprocal tariff on India from 25% to 18%. In return, India has agreed to reduce its tariffs against the U.S. to 0. The president wrote on Truth Social that Indian Prime Minister Modi agreed to stop buying Russian oil and to buy much more from the United States and potentially Venezuela. The president said the deal will help end the war in Ukraine. Modi confirmed the deal on X, writing, "Delighted that made in India products will now have a reduced tariff of 18%. Big thanks to President Trump on behalf of the 1.4 billion people of India for this wonderful announcement." Last year, President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on India for its purchases of Russian oil, on top of a 25% reciprocal tariff that Trump had already imposed on India. President Trump said the lower reciprocal tariffs on India would take effect immediately. In Washington, I'm John Decker.
Michigan Congressman Tom Barrett is proposing a major change to our federal justice system. He wants to amend the Constitution to limit judges to a 20-year term. Currently, federal justices serve for life, with the current average age of those justices sitting at 68 years old. Barrett says that's a lot of time spent in a powerful position. It would take amending the Constitution to make that change, which hasn't happened in more than 30 years. I think we might have the wrong video for you. At least 2/3 of Congress would have to vote in favor of the amendment. The measure has been handed over to the House Committee on the Judiciary for further consideration.
More local news. My Michigan Medical Center in Clare has opened its expansion, featuring a new emergency department and 16 new rooms for patients. The medical center broke ground on the $40 million, 51,000 square foot expansion in July of 2024. The imaging department also added a new MRI and CT scanner, and imaging services are now accessible 24/7. My Michigan Health says construction now shifts to phase 2, which will see work done to the main entrance, lobby, and registration area, gift shop, and more.
More local news. You can still sign up to make an ice-cold cannonball for a cause. Registration is open for this weekend's Fenton Polar Plunge, benefiting Special Olympics Michigan. All proceeds help provide year-round training and services to more than 23,000 athletes across the state. Fenton's Polar Plunge is Saturday at the Fenton Moose Lodge. Other plunges include the Great Lakes one next weekend, Mount Pleasance on February 21st, and Lapeers on March 7th. You can register in our Hot Links section.
Explore downtown Bay City this weekend while staying warm during the annual Hot Chocolate Hop. Saturday, nearly a dozen businesses will create their best hot cocoa for a friendly competition. Each shop, including Riverfront Grill and Lounge, My Secret Garden, Legacy Coffee House, and more, will feature specialty hot chocolate. After trying the different varieties, you can vote for your favorite. The Hot Chocolate Hop runs from 11 to 3. Plus, Saturday is also the Galentine's Boutique Crawl. Take a look at your screen. Collect a sticker at each of the 8 businesses for a chance to win a gift card giveaway. With a purchase at each stop, you'll also get a free gift.
A look outside tonight at downtown Flint, where the snow is still coming down, but can clearly see a traffic lane there with both sides. So we do have cars moving smoothly in downtown Flint. It does appear that the snow is pretty light at this hour, and we still have only one winter weather advisory in place. That is continuing until 7 o'clock on Monday evening. That is for Gratiot County. It is primarily for the possibility of some freezing drizzle that may try to mix in with some of the snow, but overall traffic still seems in Gratiot County to be moving along at the expected pace tonight. We do have a few slowdowns here and there, but that's pretty typical of every evening, and it does appear that we've got most of the snow remaining pretty light, some of it only even in the form of flurries as it passes through. But just be careful, back roads and side streets that may not have gotten plowed from earlier this morning, those might still be a little bit slippery, but we can handle this, a fairly disorganized system, as it moves through. And once a cold front passes by late tonight and early tomorrow, we should see a lot of that snow come to an end. So you actually can see that cold front passing through later on tonight. You've got the westerly and southwesterly flow ahead of it, northwesterly flow on the north side of it, and then a few snow showers in between where those two areas of wind meet. Those will move out clearing skies start to move in as we head towards Tuesday afternoon, and we should have plenty of sunshine for tomorrow. Not necessarily saying we'll be perfectly sunny, but I think we'll have bright skies most of the day. How much accumulation from this point forward? Not much. If we see anything this evening, should be a half inch or less around much of mid-Michigan, so we should be able to handle that. Low temperatures tonight, mostly lower in middle teens, actually getting us closer near average, and then our average high for tomorrow is 29. We're roughly about 5 or 10 degrees below that mark. So we are getting closer, still some progress to be made, but things are starting to move in the right direction. Great Lakes ice coverage up to about 54.5% or just over that mark. We've actually seen a pretty big change on Superior and Lake Michigan compared to last week. Those two lakes were a little bit behind everybody else, but now even Lake Huron really starting to ice over. Lake Erie is pretty much covered at this point. Lake Ontario, still some work to do off to the east, but even there, things are starting to change, especially with that deeper water of Lake Ontario compared to Lake Erie. Temperatures as we go into the next part of February here, February 10th through the 16th, actually leaning above average for once. Average is around 29, so doesn't necessarily mean we're looking at 40s or 50s, but do think there's a really good possibility going into next week that we could potentially be touching the 30s at times. Your TV5 First Alert 7-day forecast shows as we head towards the weekend, we will see one more cool down. Highs will be right around the middle and upper teens for Saturday and Sunday, but already back up into the 20s by Monday and only getting warmer from there.
Thank you, Chris. All new tonight, every semester, one teacher gives each of her students $20 to put toward a good deed. It's the Kindness Project in tonight's Can't Miss Moment on the news at 10 on the Great Lakes Sports and Entertainment Network.
On the news at 11, a mid-Michigan congressman wants to limit the terms of federal judges. Why he says his proposal is necessary and why it will be a challenge to pass.
Also at 11, a study showing why men need to really start thinking about heart health as early as their mid-30s. And if you want to hear more about the weather, head on over to our digital live stream at 9 o'clock tonight. You can join that stream at WNEM.com, on the TV5 YouTube and Facebook pages, on our Roku and Fire Stick channels, and on the TV5 News app. Thanks for watching WNEM Evening Extra. Of course, keep up with us as the news breaks online, on our app, or on social media.
We'll see you at 11.